Welcome back, everyone. New Mutator here, and I'm going to be casting another week of Myth Kickballers. This is week 4, and I'm going to be showing you a game. This is game 1. It's going to be between two of this week's captains. Renwood going to be captaining the Peach team over here on the west side of the map, and on the east side opposite him it's going to be Thor. I'll go ahead and bring up the list of players in the game, or in the match I should say, although I think there was quite a few roster changes throughout the match. Let's go ahead and read off to you the list of players for Thor. He's got some players that I've never heard of before and some other players that I have heard of before. I'm not sure if some of these players are dummies, what you might call dummy accounts, or if they are in fact just new players that I just haven't seen. I'll go ahead and toss up the chat in the game so you can read that. But we have Joker's Wild, and I'm not sure if that's a guest account or not, so I don't know who that is. Gudini, I have no idea who that is. Carmisi, I do know who that is. I believe he won the Milkman's Free-for-All League. He got first place in that, so quite a good player there. Hi, no idea who that is. I'm assuming that is a dummy account, as well as Q. Lamb, I don't know, but Funky, I believe, was a player that participated in Osmodian's tournament, I believe so. I have seen him before. Again, on Ren's team, we have Father Xmas Donsky, who's a pretty good player. King Diamond, I don't know who that is. Ellen, who is actually yours truly, a professional killer, who was on the Southern Parkings team in the Myth World Cup. 2012 Sasper from Team Deer, and Sam the Butcher from Gimbal are us. So let's take a look at these trades if we have enough time. Doesn't look like very many archers here for Renwood, and I've got John God's detailed textures for this game also. So he's gonna go pretty melee heavy with Puss, a couple of dwarves as well. Thor, on the other hand, is going pretty archer heavy. He is getting a lot of goals, but it doesn't look like he's going to be utilizing very much Puss, if any Puss at all. Looks like he's going to be probably sinking those whites, I'm guessing. Kind of an unusual trade, one that I'm not really I'm not really sure how this will work out for his team. As long as, yeah, there he goes. He's going to start moving those whites. So he's handing out these whites to various players, it looks like. Q has control of that one, and Kermisi has control of this one. So I'm not sure how that's going to work. We'll go ahead and find out through the course of the game. He is going for a pretty large gold pack. Scouting out the middle here. He's going to run into King Diamond on the middle flag. It is territory, so holding flags until the end of the game is kind of going to be the name of the game. It looks like he's going to try to run off this dwarf and archers, although that dwarf could turn around and maybe get a couple shots, and there is enough thrall, I think, to hold this off for now. He is going to toss a bottle, but only manage to do some friendly fire damage. Thor is going to try to run him down, although he is going to be turned around there by King Diamond's melee. And interestingly, if Thor had run in a little bit further, he might have been able to pick up some of this pus and use it against Renwood's team. Looks like Funky is going to try to cross here and do some preliminary damage, although he is going to be turned around here by, I believe, just some of the forces here for Renwood's team. We can also look over here. We have Professional Killer and myself on this flank, and Gudini's on the other side there. We were kind of in the south, but then we decided to fall back mid because of that initial push and bolster that a little bit. I do have these warriors here to kind of scout this force there. As you can see, I'm probably going to attempt to avoid taking more damage than necessary over there. In the north, we have Father Xmas, who's going to be scouting out the northern crossing. He's going to be up against Lamb and Joker's Wild. some, you know, I don't know what you call this, chest beating, just shooting arrows into the water, just to show the level of readiness, I'm assuming, or boredom. Um, so the middle's going to be a stalemate. It looks like there's really not enough on either side to push at this point without sustaining heavy losses. Middle's more or less a stalemate as well. As I guess Thor's team could attempt to cross here, but they don't really have enough melee to back this up. Although with that many archers, I think they might have. If it was just this, I think they'd be able to take this out, that northern force, with the thrall as well. But I don't know. We'll see. So I think it's going to be up to us in the south, as we do outnumber these forces here. Who is this? Gudini? No, Kermisi and Gudini. We do outnumber them. Renwood taking some damage on his goals, his pus goals, for some reason. So let's take a look at F7. He does have 7%. As compared with 23% for Thor. So he is taking a little bit more modest amount of units here than Thor, who is kind of his opponent, his captaining opponent here in game 1 of week 4 of Myth Kickballers. So yeah, I think it's going to be up to Professional Killer and myself here in the south. We're going to have to figure out a way to rush this. It's going to be difficult, but I think we have enough pus, especially with Renwood here, to be able to push that. So I think in this game I'm going to send these 2 Thrall here to prevent the easy tag on this flag later on in the game, as there is over 7 minutes left in the game, but still I'd prefer it if we didn't have to retake flags that we had already held for the majority of the game. So once again, not a whole lot happening in the mid. In the north, it looks like this force did attempt to push, as Joker's Wild is going to kind of press, although he has he kind of needs to be careful because Father Xmas could snipe him, although Father Xmas is running into danger there. He needs to be careful. May take some damage, but manages to back out just in time. Although this is a lot of archers here, and unless okay, so Donsky is going to swoop down and flank this force. I do believe he has enough pus here. I think he's going to target that dwarf and target these archers. Very nice pus there, managing to incapacitate 4 archers or so. Manages to take out that dwarf, so doing really well in that department. I think he's going to push Lamb back, and he's going to send in that warrior to try to do some more damage, although Renwood is going to send out that lone thrall. And I think Donsky's going to back out, having done enough damage there to prevent that force from crossing and doing any significant amount of damage. Now what's happening in the south is that we decided to kind of loop around. There is like this crossing that's not utilized very much because it is kind of in a tough spot. It's up against the edge of the map there, but I think we are going to go ahead and utilize that, as this crossing is very well defended. Although that's not going to stop Professional Killer and Renwood from moving in with their pus goals. I think they might be able to do some damage here. There goes one from Professional Killer. Renwood takes some damage. That one was a miss. I think they are going to go for those 2 units there. There was a white, which I missed, but I think it looks to have decimated some of Thor's team's units, although Thor's team is actually ahead at this point, although maybe not for long, as they are getting rushed here in the south. It really does appear like they're going to get cleaned up, as all they have left are these archers, and there's really nothing there to help them, to back them up, although there are these goals. So these goals, Thor's gold pack might arrive just in time to push back these warriors from doing any significant amount of damage to these archers.
5 minutes remain.
Yeah, it looks like maybe 1 archer will be taken out, and then these units will be forced to retreat and sustain some damage from those archers there. So very interesting. Thor, I'm not sure why he didn't decide to take out Professional Killer's dwarf at that moment. Instead, he's going to try to rush across to this flag. Meanwhile, in the mid, there's not a whole lot happening. This force here could easily cross, but they're just content to stay there and defend this flag. Meanwhile, in the north, it looks like Donsky was able to take out the opposing force with the help of Father Xmas and clean that up. So that looks like that worked out pretty well for them, as the percentages are actually quite even, as I think most of the unit trading points are kind of tied up into this gold pack here. And I'm kind of a fan of gold packs, but it's when all you have left is the gold pack, it's going to be really difficult to do much, especially against, you know, forces with more HP than you, like this melee here, and you know, dwarves that can deal a lot of damage, a lot of area of effect damage. So I'm kind of curious to see how Thor is going to make this work for him, as they do have these archers that will be able to do some damage. Houdini's going to try to focus down these archers by professional killer, as there's only 3 to about 6, with a few more backing them up. So though Thor has an archer advantage, I also have 1 pus left, so I might be able to use that offensively. I'm saving it at this point. I could throw it down on some archers, but I don't think that it's really necessary, because at this point I want to use it to defend our dwarf.
Flag captured.
And also to ensure that we can win in a melee fight, because as long as we have melee, we can move in and take out these archers. So Thor does decide to rush at this point in time. He is going to try to focus down that dwarf. I'm going to deal as much damage as I can at this point. The dwarf does end up going down, but I managed to take out quite a few goals to make it really not worthwhile for him. So I do toss that pus packet to secure basically the kills on that entire gold pack. And with that, I'm going to utilize this chance to kind of rush and try to take out these archers. Meanwhile, our north with King Diamond, or actually that is our mid, they did decide to cross, and backed up by Sam the Butcher, they are going to try to move in here and take out this what was the middle force of Team Thor, and we are kind of sandwiching them at this point in time. As you can see, our melee is moving in, as well as King Diamond's, and nice. That was a pretty nice exchange there, taking out the goal, but the pus still going down. And then, as you can see, these soft units just getting cleaned up. These Thrall don't even have to arrive at the engagement. This flag was taken, and I think that's going to be the last flag that we need to take at this point in time, as it is 32% to 5%. There's very little remaining at this point. There is this goalie throws the pus down, but it bounces and hardly does anything, and that was kind of a waste. Thor's going to move in and basically suicide with that goal. Meanwhile, over here, Kremisi with the Lone Warrior is not going to be able to tango with 3 Thrall. That is 2 too many, and possibly 3 too many. I mean, it's hard enough for 1 warrior to defeat 1 Thrall. It's a lot easier when you have 2 warriors, and infinitely easier the more warriors you have, especially if they're veteran, if they have veteran status. So this is going to be pretty much the last remaining unit, as
flag captured.
That Donsky does manage to dud on him. He's going to try to bounce that and connect. So beautiful shot there by Donsky. I think Donsky did pretty well in this series overall. I don't know if he carried the team, but he definitely enabled his team to pull through some tense moments. And so Kremisi has the Lone Warrior. That's going to be the last remaining unit. It's pretty much game over, as this flag is about to fall here. Who's going to tag it? Looks like Renwood is going to get there first.
30 seconds.
And there are going to be a couple of... Oh, so okay, there was two remaining units, and neither one is going to go down here. Kremisi actually doing pretty well, sustaining a minimum of damage in that duel. But that's going to be it for game 1. Let's go ahead and look at the players in the game. It looks as if Houdini had the most kills with 13 for Thor's team, although Lamb, it looks like, had the most damage with 66. Meanwhile, on Renwood's team, I think myself and Professional Killer had the most kills and damage, although Father Xmas had a lot of damage as well with 90. But look at this, 17 kills and 3 losses. I don't know how I think most of those were probably goals, and my losses were probably a couple warriors. So I think I managed to do pretty well this game all in all, but I probably relied on Professional Killer and Renwood to sustain most of the damage in that engagement, and kind of followed through with that and clean things up. So that's kind of how I see how I was able to arrive at such a large figure for damage. So that's going to be it for game number 1. And yeah, if you want, go ahead and stay with me for game number 2 coming up.
Game over.